Okay, Darius. So how are you finding it? What's causing you worries or concerns at the moment, and what problems are you sort of seeing?
The agony couch.
Oh look, it's. I don't think it's exclusive to being regional. What's causing me agony? It's just got a major blow with a funding knockback that we were super confident about, and we got right to the last rung, and then gave the best pitch and flew down for it because we knew it was important to have that face to face, and then so that's it's just like you were saying, Dana, it's just sucking it back up and on to the next thing. So to be honest, my life has drastically improved coming home because I grew up here, and I was living in Melbourne, and it was actually personal reasons that I came back, and I was just like, oh, so you're going to throw your career out the window? Cool. But it just turned out that it wasn't like that at all. It's like I'm no less stressed about my work, but I go surfing every morning. So like that is life-changing for me, and it's like
true.
That's therapy, and that allows and a lifestyle shift in terms of just like it was my 20s in Melbourne, and it was a lot more ruckus and kind of wild, and now it's like I'm just really able to bring it all in and focus on the things that really matter. And at the moment I'm just super driven by this series that I'm writing on, and I'm just like minimizing jobs, to be honest. Like I'm just like, as long as I can pay the rent, that's all I care about, and I just want to hermit in my little writing den and work because I can do that at this point in my life, and I know I won't be able to do that forever.
I think you said to me too, you thought coming here would be a step back in your career, but actually you found it to be a step forward.
Absolutely, and that's for multiple reasons, and like just fucking hats off to these two incredible individuals, Lisa and Ken here.
You're a bit of all right, Ken and Lisa.
Not mentioning any names, but Screenworks was around when I finished high school, and it was a thing, they were here, and I came back like, oh yeah, cool, Screenworks, yeah, I guess I'll become a member, whatever, and then was like, holy fuck, like this is, it's like nobody knows this resource, like what? Like, so
you guys are
we
very
are
lucky.
so lucky, like, and I felt particularly lucky because I was just in this primed position where I was and am still emerging, and so I was really at a great point to come and kind of benefit from the all these different opportunities that Screenworks was offering. But in Melbourne, I've always been avid in terms of like looking out for opportunities to further my career. But you're competing with so many more people, and so for me, it's been a real career development, both for myself personally, just really honing in on wanting to develop my projects, and then also the access that I've received from Screenworks and having the time to develop other things that I've then applied to with the various funding bodies.
Great. So I'll just stay with you for a second. So you spent a day in a writer's room at Jungle this week, actually. Can you... woohoo, plug. But can you tell me how that happened and how you've found it being in another company's writing room?
Absolutely. So again, a Career Pathways program, which was created by Screenworks to allow emerging creatives different access to different programs, and I got this writers' room program, which was it was really interesting. It was as you guys were talking about this morning with those wonderful demystifying slides, Chloe, of the realities of the unglamorous writers' room. There was no misconceptions from my part in terms of what. That I didn't have stars in my eyes or anything, but what I actually found really wonderful was like, I've been doing some very informal writing room sort of experiments on my own, and just sort of thinking, it's kind of all a bit hodgepodge, but then you get in there, and it's not to say that you guys are hodgepodge, but it was just like, the relaxed nature of it was just really affirming. It's like, oh, you can just kind of, it's just people coming together who are just really talented and collaborating to bring an idea to its best possible fruition. And so that was really awesome, and something I actually haven't told you about, which is kind of funny. And this is me just being not even an opportunist, but just like not being able to shut my mouth, was that Bill got sick in the afternoon, and then another rider could only stay for half a day. So suddenly there was half a team there, and they were all kind of on a caffeine low, and I'm on this diet where I don't do caffeine. So I was kind of like, hadn't said anything all day, and they were all kind of like flagging, and I was just like, I'm not supposed to say anything, but I got a few ideas, and so I just jumped in there and started, you know, putting ideas on the table in a respectful way, you know, but it just felt really exciting to have that little opportunity of like, oh wow, like, you know, feel like I'm being considered about what I'm saying and it's being responded to, and, you know, that I could, you know, potentially play in an arena like this at some point down the track.
Great, well done, well played. So Lois, so we spoke a little earlier about SolarMax. Can you tell me about that and what was really exciting for you about having that project land on your slate at that time?
That it was just one of those lucky flukes from the universe that because I grew up here as well and moved back here in my 30s, and it was just a total coincidence that John Wiley moved back at the exact same time and got this project up that was SolarMax, and it was an international science feature, IMAX film fun. It was it had no Australian money in it at all. It was no Australian public money in it at all, and it was mainly financed through the National Science Foundation of the United States and executive produced by the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. It was a huge project where they actually put an IMAX film on the SOHO satellite and filmed the first ever high definition images of the surface of the sun. And they massive. The co-producer was a physicist from Boston, and we filmed in 16 different countries. And some of the shoots we went on, and some of them we contracted crews. But yeah, the message for today is that we did it all from a tin shed in the industrial estate in Byron. And really, the team locally, it was John, me as production manager, and John was the writer, producer, director, and a production accountant. And that was it. And it was massive. It was like a $6 million project. And it's been showing in science museums around the world. And, you know, John's an amazing filmmaker. He's about to make another IMAX film, still going. And a lot of the work that he does is, you know, funded through science, sort of communication money from the States.
So how many teams did you have, did you say? 16 different teams,
16
and two of you here in
Yeah, we
Byron
filmed
Bay.
in 16 countries.
Yeah. And what were some of the challenges?
It was the most challenging project I've ever done, and the good thing about doing something like that is then after that nothing phases you. So it was dealing with things like wrangling helicopter pilots in Iceland, and trying to do a shoot in Peru with all this really expensive equipment, and there's just like burglaries happening all around, and we had to have a whole team of security guards with guns to, you know, protect the equipment, and dealing with the bureaucracies to get permits to film in all of those countries, and even just like finding the crews in different countries and the right people to work with, and then the other from a sort of production management and finance point of view, we're also working in 3 currencies and 3 time zones. As it turned out, the currency fluctuation worked massively to our advantage, which was good, but it's so random. So then you have to have insurance against currency fluctuation.
So none of that would have really changed if you had been based in Sydney
that's what I actually thought at the time. I could be on the moon. Like, it was completely irrelevant where the production hub was, and we just called ourselves the Nerve Centre. And I was the nerve. But really, I mean, that was quite a while ago. That was like 10 years ago now. But it was, it just shows really that it is irrelevant where you're based.
Yep.
And if you're prepared to travel and, you know, John had made those relationships through previous work on IMAX films with the international science community. So yeah.
What a great thing that you both happened to move here at that time and team up.
He
Yeah,
also grew up in the
Yeah.
area, and so
goes to show those core partnerships. Found locally as well. Yeah. So David, we were just sort of having a bit of a, ruminate over generations and different generational gaps between filmmakers. Do you have any thoughts or ideas about how the problems and any sort of we're talking about younger people teaming up with people like you and things like that? Can you elaborate on that a little?
I just see positives coming from it, really, in terms of hearing Daria speak here and our conversation on the phone prelude. You can feel the energy and the fire that is coming from your generation, and just hearing Lois talk about 16 crews in 16 countries and organising security for all the sort of stuff that that when you're in your sort of your 50s, and now I'm in my 60s, and hearing Vincent say yesterday that it took him a year of hustling Bruce Springsteen to get the rights to that. I've done that with Laurie Anderson music from my Nicaraguan film 30 odd years ago and stuff like that. It's such an advantage to have someone who doesn't have the exhaustion of what it's like to and going into the commissioning editors and sort of having to sort of talk up your project and face rejection and so on. It's sort of I see a lot of advantages about that, and I'd be quite interested in working with the younger talented people that want to listen and teach me at the same time.
Yeah, I guess just from my perspective, following our chat, I think you've got a lot of emerging practitioners and obviously people with incredible wealth of experience, and to me that seems like an opportunity there to be teaming up, but together and forming new partnerships. And
you can charge our commission rights on it, getting your offers after this, Chloe.
What's your Instagram, David? Do you have Instagram?
No,
Get you on
Facebook.
So Dana, we talked about the difference between work styles in the city and in regional areas. Can you just give a little bit of insight into and we'll be kind of candid here, I guess. What's been your experience, and how can you see?
Look, I think there's a romanticism and everyone I think in the world wants a little slice of what we all have. And I just worked, for example, on the Byron Bay Surf Festival, and the guys who founded it are just these like long-haired hippies who I never saw in a pair of shoes. Never saw them with dry hair either. And they were woefully terrible at deadlines, following through, being focused on particular details to get to the next step, which frustrated me so much. But that part of them being Byron Bay is really genuine and beautiful, and we all want a slice of that. With that said, I was horrified that there were all these media students. I opened up this media team where I wanted videographers, editors, writers, etc. And they rocked up on the day of this 3-day festival, and most of them weren't wearing shoes. Now, am I just getting old? But I'm like, there's occupational health and safety. There's smell. Let alone for the fact it's very hard to concentrate when you're staring at someone's fucked up feet, let me tell you. So my hot tip for you all is, if you've got a job interview or you're going out into the field, no matter if you're a volunteer, no matter if it's a shoot on the beach, just still dress as if it's a job interview. And I'm the last one to ask right now. You're lucky I'm wearing clean clothes, let's be honest. But I'm just astounded a little bit in my experience, and no one I've actually met in this room, by the way, you're all good, but it's just like the level of professionalism. Like, yeah, it's cool, you come from Northern Rivers and you're a little bit hippie and we love that about you, but just try and brush your hair and wear footwear and a bra. Like, it's just...
And we talked a little bit beyond that. So we talked about, deadlines, though, and working to a brief.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other thing, too. I love giving anyone who wants to go, I'll give you a go. I'm not going to pay you for the first couple of weeks because I feel like I invest way more time in training you and getting you up to speed with what networks want than what I actually get back from you. But I love mentoring people. If you're happy to listen to me talk all day, power to you. The hours are quite long. Like, you can't leave if there's a script that needs to be written or a call sheet that needs to go out or a location that needs to be recce'd. It has to happen. And it's just that follow through, which is a big part of producing. And if it's not in you to just over deliver, it's very hard for you to set yourself apart from the pack. You know, you're trying to work in one of the most competitive industries in the world. And unfortunately, there's someone hungrier, more talented than you probably, right around the corner. So you've just got to keep your standards high and just keep that passion and enthusiasm for every single topic. Whether one day you're interviewing reality TV contestants for a dating show, or you're interviewing the head of oncology at the Royal Women's Hospital, the level of enthusiasm for the topic has to be the same.
Now, Dana, was it you that was talking about the lady that's a mum of 4? Was that your story, or was that you, Lois? No, mum of 4 who you employed.
Oh yeah,
Yep,
Nicole.
yep.
Is Nicole here? No. Does anyone know Nicole Sullivan? She is here.
It was a good news story. It was a good news story. Yeah.
So proud. It's my little protege, Nicole here.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
She is a mum of 4 kids. You should be proud of that, Dale. Stand up. God, that's amazing. I'm really proud of Nicole because she was in this course last year and she's quite shy, and she was sort of not really sure of how she was ever going to get in this business, because she was like, you know, I am a mum of 4 and I haven't worked in the industry before, but she's got a beautiful nature, a really hardworking ethic. She's a breath of fresh air to have around. And you know what? I don't care what skills she really had. It was this energy and, you know, lovely, hardworking aura that she would do anything I asked her to do, and did it with a smile on her face. And I've been happy to train her. Anyway, subsequently speaking, she's worked on 4 or 5 different shows with me now over the last 12 months. Shine did a big reality show, which I know a lot of people in this town hate reality, but let me tell you, most people who work in reality also make docos. So, and so Nicole, the executive producer, asked me if I knew anyone who would be a great talent manager. I said, I've been working with this lady, Nicole, who's been helping me with a lot of talent. She hasn't got the management skills that probably you were looking for, but I know she would go 150% for you in this role. And she got the job and she smashed it, and everyone was so impressed. I've heard nothing but great feedback from a primetime network and a primetime slot and a multi-million-dollar show. And now she's just got her first production manager title. So I'm very proud of Nicole. But, you know, it just goes to show you can live in Byron Bay, you can be a mum of 4 kids, you know, you can be pushing 50, it doesn't matter. It's really all about having that passion and tenacity, and come at me if you've got it.